me just a moment, sir. All right, can I please get appearances for the state and the public defender's office?
Paul Kahn for the state.
Chris Carey, Public Defender's Office.
All right, I know everybody has to wear a mask. It's just a little hard for me to hear with the air blowing, so just make sure that you're speaking loud enough, and if you can't hear me, let me know. Sir, can you go ahead and tell me your name?
Cameron Hickman,
Mr. Hickman, how old are you?
17.
All right, based on your age, I'm going to appoint a public defender in case number 20 CF 11579AO. Sir, you're here for a second-degree murder with a weapon. I'm going to order that you have no contact with the victim, possess no weapons. Probable cause has already been found in this matter. Anything else, defense counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You can go ahead and... Yes, I'm staying the bond. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Horatio Noy.
Good morning, Mr. Noy. You're
Good
here in
morning.
case 20 CF 11579CO for a charge of third-degree murder. Are you under the age of 18?
I'm 17, man.
Sir, I'm going to go ahead and appoint a public defender. You're here and I find probable cause for third-degree felony murder. Anything else, state or defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'll stay the bond. No contact with the victim or any witnesses or any co-defendants. Thank you. Next person, please.
She's on the way, Your Honor. Just give us a moment, please. No weapons, right? Oh.
Yes, no weapons. And just so everybody knows the direction I'm taking these juvenile up files first, then I'm going to switch over to Osceola, then I'll go back to the move-ups. Ma'am, tell me your name.
Andrea Sarah,
Miss Sarah, how old are you?
17.
Ma'am, you're here in case 20 CF 11579BO. You're here for a charge of third-degree felony murder. I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with your case. Probable cause has been found. Anything else, defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're to have no contact with any victims, witnesses, or any co-defendants, and not to possess any weapons. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Yes. All right, let's switch to Osceola. Now I hit call. Video conference, or, oh, they're there. All right, Osceola, are you ready? OS. Good morning, Osceola, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Can I get appearances for anybody handling the Osceola case?
Officer Jennifer Dunkirk for pretrial release. Mary Iran on behalf of the Public Defender's Office.
And State, are you handling for these cases?
Yes, Your Honor. Paul Kahn for the state.
All right, thank you. And just remember, I know with masks on, sometimes you can't hear me, and if I can't hear you, I'll let you know. First person is David Diaz. On deck is Sharice Reed. Are you Mr. Diaz?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, you're here for a charge of possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. Sir, do you want a public defender to help your case?
Yes.
All right, I find probable cause for these charges, and I'll stay the bond and appoint a public defender. So on the
Your Honor.
application- Yes,
We would like to do a PC challenge on the possession of cocaine, that the residue and the tar was not enough to charge him with the possession, but rather just the paraphernalia.
All right, the case law does support that there is probable cause based on the residue. I'm going to overrule the objection, finding probable cause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, just for clarification, count 1 is 1,500, count 2 is 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next person is Sharice Green. After Sharice Green, I'm going to call Corey Henson. After Sharice Green.
She's in the next group, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, I'll pass. Corey Henson. After Corey Henson, I'm calling Michelle Kent.
She's also in the next group.
After Mr. Henson, I'm calling Latravius Lynette. All right, your name, please.
Corey Henson.
Mr. Henson, you're here for two felonies, battery on a law enforcement officer or other emergency service worker, as well as resisting officer without violence. Sir, do you want a public defender?
Yeah.
All right, I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bond on count 1. On count 2, we'll reduce the bond to $150.
Judge, Mr. Henson actually qualifies for direct pretrial release. Would court be able to entertain that?
Corrections, what's his priors?
Mr. Henson has previous batteries. The majority of his history is battery stemming from 2013. His last adjudication was a domestic battery in 2017, Judge.
All right, here's
No
what I'll do.
FTAs.
I'm going to do a bond reduction. Count 1, modify to $1,000 plus pretrial release. Count 2, straight pretrial release.
Thank you, Judge. Any conditions?
No weapons. And do phone in pretrial release.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Latravius Lynette. After Lynette, it's Christopher Mediat. Sir, tell me your name.
Latravius Lynette.
Mr. Lynette, you're here for a warrant from Polk County, Florida. I did confirm the same. It's for a violation of probation for grand theft. You'll be held at no bond. I'll appoint a public defender for these purposes.
Your Honor, we would ask that he gets a bond in this case. It looks like there's a failure to appear. My client is saying he didn't get notice of it. He is also in and out of the hospital. He has got some severe medical issues. Sickle cell is one of the main issues, and with the COVID in the jail, it wouldn't be in his best interest to keep him here.
I understand. You can go ahead and file any motions. I'll deny the request. Stay at no bond. All right, the next person is Christopher Mediat. After that, it's going to be Jocelyn Rodriguez.
Jocelyn's another group. Jocelyn, Judge, is in the next,
Group?
all the females are in the next group, Judge.
Okay, after Mediat, it's going to be Alex.
Judge, Mr. Media, can we reset him? He's in medical and unable to attend.
All right, here's what I'll do. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender on his case. I'll modify him based on the facts of the case. I'll stay it on count 1. On count 2, I'll reduce it to $100. No reset. The next person is Alex Stevens. Sir, are you Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, you're here pursuant to a warrant for tampering or harassing with the witness in a first-degree felony investigation. Do you want a public defender?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead. Anything public defender?
Yes, Your Honor, I didn't get a warrant. The affidavit for this case, we'd be asking that he gets a bond and not to revoke his previous bond. There isn't nothing in the paperwork that I was given that indicates that he had violated in any way, any contact. I don't see probable cause on anything that he had done.
Okay.
All it says,
Slow down, counsel. Do you not see probable cause because you didn't get the affidavit, or do you not find probable cause within the affidavit?
within the affidavit that was provided to me.
All right, I don't know what was provided to you, but I was the one who signed the warrant. I don't know why it says Judge Seal on that. I'm going to overrule your objection. I already found probable cause on it. Do you want to be heard on bond amount?
We would just be asking for a reasonable bond
All right.
that's
what's a
affordable to the client.
What's a reasonable bond?
We would ask that it be reduced from $50,000 to $10,000.
And corrections, is he out on any other cases?
Judge, he's currently out on the 20 CF 1774, burglary of a dwelling with assault or battery. That bond was $3,500. False imprisonment, count 2, that was $2,000. Count 3, battery, which was $3,000. Mr. Stevens was released on September 3rd of this month.
All right, I'm revoking his release on his other charge, and I'll go ahead and modify the bond on the new case to $25,000. No contact with any victims, witnesses, or the co-defendant. Thank you. Robert Torres, followed by Hugo Zuniga. Hi, are you Robert Torres?
Yes, I am.
Sir, you're here for a charge of battery. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Is Miss Penna, has anybody heard from Maria Penna?
Judge, I tried to reach out to Ms. Penna this morning. I left a voicemail for her to go to Orange County. It also to be noted that Mr. Torres does not have any history whatsoever. This is his first arrest.
All right, thank you. Anything from defense?
We would just be asking at this point if there's any conditions that are going to be implicated on this defendant, that it would be no hostile contact. He does reside in the home. He is the sole, I believe he's the provider of the bills in that home as well, so we would just be asking for no hostile contact at this time.
And corrections, nobody's in the lobby that we know of?
And the victim, oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
What were you saying?
Also that, I apologize. The victim in this case does have plans to move out on October 22nd.
Thank you. All right, based on the facts I have before me and not given to the victim, I'm going to set a monetary bond of $760. Have no contact with all right, no contact with the victim, no return to the residence, even to the residence. I'll allow a one-time return as long as you have a law enforcement officer with you. If you're not to possess any weapons, weapons are to be surrendered to law enforcement. Thank you, Mr. Torres.
Thank you.
Yes, return weapons within 24 hours. Okay, the next case is Hugo Zuniga, followed by Eric Long. After Eric Long is Shelley Sanders. Are you Mr. Hugo Zuniga?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for a charge of fleeing and attempting to elude with lights and sirens activated. I will set a bond in your case. Do you want a public defender?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I do find probable cause. Corrections, what's his history?
Judge, he has only one sealed prior. Other than that, he does not have any history, and he does qualify for direct pretrial release if judge is willing to entertain that.
Okay, I'll go ahead and give him pretrial release. Everybody agree to that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any conditions, Judge?
No, he's not to not to commit any new law offenses.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. The next person is Eric Long.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm well, thank you, sir.
Your Honor, may we waive the readings for
Yes.
these charges?
All right, I do find that there's probable cause for the offenses. Mr. Long, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause. I'll set bond on count 1 at $2,500 and on count 2 at $150. Mr. Long, you do have recording requirements. I'll give you 1 business day to follow up with recording and provide your email and other contact information to the agency.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Stay in touch with your attorney. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Shelley Sanders. After that, I'm going to be addressing Jorge Benitez.
You gave me the PDF?
Sir, what is your name?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it again.
What's your name, sir?
Say it again.
Shelly Sanders.
Mr. Sanders, you're here for a violation of probation or community control. You're being held in no bond on the underlying charge of existing officer without violence. Do you already have a public defender?
Not on this case, Judge. He does on his other cases.
This is on Shelley Sanders. Okay, do you want a public defender, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Thank you, sir. Next person is Jorge Luis Benitez.
Is unable due to medical.
All right, based on his medical, I will appoint a public defender. Probable cause has been found. Is he going to qualify for pretrial release?
No, Judge, he's actually in self-harm status right now. That's one of the reasons why he doesn't.
Okay, I'm going to reduce his bond to $100, appoint a public defender, and to be set. The next case is Philip Eady.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Eady, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, please.
Sir, you're here for a charge of battery. I do find probable cause. You're to have no contact with the victim. You're not to return to the home. You must maintain a separate residence, and you're not to have any weapons. Any weapons that you have do need to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release from jail. If you need to collect some belongings, you need to be accompanied by a police officer to collect them, and I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Thank you, sir. And you have a public defender now.
Thank you.
Greg LaRue is next, followed by Joshua Jerome Shepard.
Judge, Mr. LaRue is in detox.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I will make a finding that there is probable cause for the charge of resisting officer without violence, and I'll go ahead and stay the bond. Joshua Shepard. Good morning, are you Mr. Shepard? I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Shepard, you're here for a charge of resisting officer without violence. I do find that there's probable cause. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Defense, do you want to be heard on his bond or release?
What about, I have a parole violation?
Okay, based on that, I'll stay your bond at $500. I don't have your parole violation in front of me.
What about my parole violation?
I don't have that case in front of me. Your attorney can explain what that means. In the meantime, I'll stay your bond.
Yeah. You still.
All right, are you ready to do the female litigants?
And just one moment, Judge.
While I'm on record, and you're gonna be disappointed in me, there were 3 juvenile cases where they had third-degree murder charges. I need to set a bond. Defense stood silent on it and deferred to the court, but I didn't make a mistake. Can I recall the case numbers? Okay, as I said, I'm gonna counsel, you'll be speaking with your clients? Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Cameron Hickman, 20 CF 115798, I'll state the bond that I put in. In case number 20 CF 115790, that's defendant Horacio Noy. I'm gonna go ahead and modify his bond to $10,000, no, with the same conditions. And to reside with parent or legal guardian. In case 20 CF 11579BO. DJJ, what's the risk assessment on Andrea Sarah?
She had a 4, so above average.
I'm sorry, above average? Okay, based on that, I'm setting bond at $10,000, defendant to reside with his parents, her parents, or legal guardian with the conditions that I put on record earlier.
Your Honor, the state would object and ask for no bond.
Okay, so what's your legal basis? It's an F2. So when they were at juvenile, they scored secure detention, but now I see them and they have an F2.
Okay,
It's not an offense where I can hold them at no bond.
I understand.
Do you
So-
agree with that now?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
thank you, counsel. Anything from defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thanks. Thank you, everybody. Okay, back on to Osceola's cases. And as an officer of the court, you're going to confirm that they know that they have bond now? I can't hear you, counsel.
Confirm right this second that they know?
You're going to you're going to communicate with them and let them know that they do have
Yes.
a bond?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and do the female litigants. I'm going to start with Betty Ward.
Judge, can we take Miss Cherise Green? She's in a wheelchair.
Of course.
Thank you,
Cherise
ma'am.
Green. After Green, I'm going to call Betty Ward.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we have a PC argument for Ms. Green.
All right, in case number, where's Miss Green?
She's approaching.
All right, are you Miss Green?
Yes, I am.
Ma'am, you're here for a charge of battery on a person age 70, on a person age 65 years of age or older. Do you want a public defender?
Yes.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender. What's your PC argument?
Your Honor, we would just be asking for a lesser included of a simple battery. Nothing in the affidavit indicates that the alleged victim is over 65. There is a statement saying that she's 71, but there's no date of birth to verify that.
I do find probable cause nonetheless overruling your objection.
Judge, we actually spoke to the victim, and she wants a no hostile contact, and she also mentioned that she wants Ms. Green to return.
Does she qualify for pretrial release?
Due to the nature of the charge, it would be bond with.
All right, and when did you speak with the victim?
Prior to court, Judge.
All right. I'll go ahead and modify bond to a $1,000 bond plus pretrial release, no hostile contact with the victim, no weapons, and no hostile contact with the witness. Thank you.
Yeah, as long as you keep it in the same order.
Next person is Betty Ward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
After Betty Ward, the next person is going to be Michelle
That's okay.
Kent.
Your Honor, we also have a argument for Ms. Ward.
All right. Ma'am, go ahead and tell me your name.
Betty Jo Ward.
All right, Ms. Ward, you're here in case number, for an Osceola case of tampering with witness. It's on a first-degree felony charge. Do you want a public defender?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. What's the response defense?
Basically, the same thing, the affidavit that was provided to me didn't indicate anything of this charge at all in any nature.
I do find probable cause overruling the objection. Do you want me to hear on modification of bond?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd be asking to reduce his bond from $5,000 to $1,000.
And corrections, what's her history?
Ms. Ward, she has history stemming back from 1997. Her recent one was a failed to appear in 2018, possession of cocaine distributing. She had DOC time on that judge, resisting without, aggravated assault,
Okay. Thank you.
mostly drug-related.
Based
Yes,
on the
Judge.
defendant's prior failures to appear, as well as her history, and the facts of this case, I'm going to stay the bond, order no contact with the victim, and possess no weapons or witnesses. No contact with the witnesses. Thank you. The next person is Michelle Lynn Kent.
We would just like to be heard on bond for Ms. Kent, if possible.
All right, I do find probable cause for failing to appear on a written promise from two. Go ahead.
Ms. Kent was in the hospital during the time that she needed to be at court. She had some COVID issues, and so we would be asking for a bond in this case for her to be released.
Do you have any
Also-
testimony in support of those allegations?
Good. I went to, I have a bad chest cold for 5 days. It's been really bad. And it's been really bad.
When did you have your bad chest cold?
When I started, it was about 6 days, 7 days ago. 7 days ago. It's been a week now, ma'am.
What date did she fail to appear? Corrections, anybody know?
22nd.
Looks is September 22nd, Judge.
It was
Okay.
at 8:15.
I'll go ahead and modify it, and I'll give, does she have any prior failures to appear?
Judge, we didn't run history on any DOPs or FTAs because probable cause had already been met. So I could not give you the history on Ms. Kent.
So Judge Morgan just issued this KPS a couple of days ago?
Yes.
I believe on the 22nd.
I'll put her on pre-trial release.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Next person is Jocelyn Rodriguez. Ma'am, tell me your name. Are you Jocelyn Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Ma'am, I find probable cause for possession of controlled substance, possession of new light drugs without a label, as well as possession of drug paraphernalia. Corrections, before I hear on bond from the defense, I see that she's out on a case. Can you give me
She's
information about that?
Yes, Judge. She's actually out on 2 cases. She was arrested on December of last year, and she was arrested for, I believe, possession of heroin. And then she bonded out, and it was $2,500. The state filed after that, and count 2 of that same case would be possession of cocaine and possession of paraphernalia. Now, in the other case, or I'm sorry, my apologies, it's smuggled into a detention facility. And then the case number 19C4235, she's also out on bond with that, again, state filed after she had bonded out. So it's 3 counts on each.
All right. So on the old cases, I'm going to go ahead, well, if she doesn't have a PD, I'll point them now. I'm going to revoke her release on all the old out on bond cases. However, on the new cases having found probable cause, I will put her on pre-trial release.
Judge, my apologies, Judge, she doesn't qualify for pretrial release
All right.
because she's currently out on bond.
I understand. I'm keeping her at no bond, and once she gets a bond, she'll be put on pretrial release on the new cases with the condition that she not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs. And if we do go back into drug testing phase, she'll be drug tested once a month if we go to that phase. Thank you, Madam Corrections.
Thank you.
What? And I'll modify those bonds to pretrial release.
Yeah, would we be able to ask that we would ask to not revoke her previous bonds, and that maybe she could be released on some type of mental health conditions?
Basis?
It appears that there could be some competency issues.
All right, how long have you spoken with her, and were competency motions filed in any of the other cases?
No, Your Honor. Oh, I can't confirm because I don't have access to computers in the jail here.
I'll deny that request. Again, I'm putting her on pretrial release on the new cases with no monetary bond, and everything else is revoked.
Judge, my apologies. So this is just clarification because she does not qualify on the new PC at all with pretrial release. So are you staying the bond?
No, she's going to be put on non-monetary release on the new cases. Straight pretrial release, it's court ordered, opposed to qualified. Thank you.
Okay. I believe that's everything, right?
All right, I believe that's everything for Osceola County. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Will you be starting again at 10:30 tomorrow?
Yes, did that time work for you and give you enough time to prepare?
Yes. I just
Okay.
need advance notice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me clean up around here. Hi,
Good morning, Your Honor.
nice to see you.
You as well, Judge.
Oh, here's tissue. Okay, Ann, this is driving me crazy. You know, okay. I'm ready when you are. Just straight pretrial release with testing when available, condition of no drugs. Okay, my paperwork doesn't match. No, you know how I'm out of order. When it becomes available. Give me just a moment. There we go. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name, please?
Buenos días, caballero. ¿Me da su nombre, por favor?
Omar Mauricio Ardila Quiroga.
Omar Mauricio Adrilla Quiroga.
Ardila Quiroga.
Artila Quiroga.
Sí, señor.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been sworn in?
I have not, Your Honor. I apologize. For the record, Rafael Barreras, State Certified Court Interpreter.
Do you solemnly swear that you'll translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor. And as a point of clarification, I believe one of his names is indicated incorrectly, if you allow the interpreter to confirm.
Inquire, go ahead.
Señor, ¿cuál es el, me dijo Adrilla o cuál es el segundo nombre?
Ardila. Omar Mauricio.
Deletréme el primer apellido.
¿El segundo apellido?
Adrilla, o como usted me lo está diciendo.
A-R-D-I-L-A. Ardila.
Your Honor, the first last name, Adrilla, actually should be spelled A-R-D-I-L-A.
State, got that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ma'am, please raise your right hand.
Señora, por favor, levante su mano derecha.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
¿Usted juro afirma que el testimonio que usted dará en este caso será la verdad, toda la verdad y solamente la verdad ante Dios? Alce la voz, señora, por favor.
Señor.
I'm sorry, I need to ask her to speak up. Acérquese al micrófono, alce la voz, se puede quitar la mascarilla.
Sí, señor.
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down,
¿Puede
ma'am.
bajar la mano?
Is your name Gloria?
¿Usted es Gloria?
Sí, señor.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Ardilla, do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
Señora Ardila, ¿quiere usted un abogado que le ayude con su caso?
Me habían dicho que había un abogado de oficio.
I was told I would get a public defender.
Okay, that's a lawyer. I'll appoint a public defender. You do have to fill out an application.
Ese es un abogado, le voy a asignar a un defensor público, pero tiene que completar una solicitud.
Sir, you're here for a charge of battery, domestic violence, and I find probable cause.
Señor, usted está aquí por un cargo de agresión, violencia doméstica y determino que hay motivo fundado.
Gloria, tell me your full name.
Gloria, por favor, dígame su nombre completo, despacito, por favor.
Gloria Yasmín Trujillo Pineda.
Gloria Yasmín Trujillo Pineda.
Is this your husband?
Este es su esposo.
Sí, señor.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you afraid of him?
Usted lo teme.
¿Cómo?
Usted lo teme a él.
No, no, señor.
No, ma'am.
Do you want him to return home?
Usted quiere que regrese al hogar.
Sí, por favor.
Yes, please.
And do you have any concerns about your safety?
¿Usted tiene alguna inquietud sobre su seguridad?
No, para nada.
No, not at all.
And was any alcohol or drugs involved?
¿Hubieron drogas o alcohol involucrado en los acontecimientos?
No, señor.
No, ma'am.
State any objection to pretrial release?
Fiscalía tiene objeción a libertad prejuicial.
No, Your Honor.
No,
¿Cómo?
su señoría.
Sir, I'm going to put you on pretrial release.
Señor, lo voy a colocar a usted en libertad prejuicial.
When you're released, you'll be allowed to go home, but you can't do anything to harm Gloria or any of your family members.
Usted, cuando le den su libertad, va a poder regresar a su casa, pero no se le va a permitir lastimar a Gloria o ninguno de sus otros familiares.
You're also not allowed to have any weapons.
No se le permitirá portar armas.
Weapons need to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release.
Toda arma que usted porte tiene que ser entregada no más allá de 12 horas después de su libertad.
Now, Gloria and Omar, he may not be released because of immigration holds.
Gloria, quiero que entienda que es posible que él no le den su libertad debido a retenes de inmigración.
That's everything I can do on his case. Thank you.
Esto es todo lo que puedo hacer en este caso. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Yardera Gary,
Yes.
corrections, how far down do you think this is in my face sheet, staff?
Oh, it's a
Oh, I
misdemeanor.
found it. Okay. Is Pedro here? Her husband, Pedro? No response. On record on case number 2020 MM7003AO. Ma'am, you were arrested for a crime of domestic violence.
Señor, usted fue arrestado por el delito de violencia doméstica.
I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with your case.
Le voy a asignar a un abogado defensor público para que le ayude en su caso.
Make sure you fill out the paperwork.
Asegúrese de completar la documentación.
I find probable cause.
Determino que hay motivo fundado.
You're to have no contact with Pedro.
No se le permitirá tener contacto con Pedro.
You're not to possess any weapons.
No se le permitirá portar armas.
Weapons to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release.
Toda arma debe ser entregada no más allá de 12 horas después de su libertad.
And you need to live separately. You can't return there.
Y usted tiene que vivir en un lugar separado. Usted no puede regresar allí.
I'll give you a chance to return to your home just one time with a police officer to collect your belongings.
Le voy a dar una única oportunidad de regresar a su casa acompañado por un oficial del orden público para recopilar sus pertenencias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
She qualifies for PTR, Your Honor.
Not having heard from the victim, I'll decline.
Okay.
Thank you. 1,000.
And Your Honor, the interpreter can inquire if there are any other cases that require my assistance.
Go ahead.
Corrections, or I guess you guys would know.
Any
Do
others?
you have any other Spanish?
Not that we know of.
All
May
right.
the interpreter be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, nice to see you.
You as well, Judge. Have a good day.
Okay, what's your name?
George Parker.
Thank you.
Give me just a moment to find your paperwork. No, because.
It's a felony case?
What?
It's a felony case?
Yeah, either I missed it or do you have one that I can look at really quickly? If yours is ready? Thank you. All right, thank you. Thanks. You know I can't do this. Okay, Mr. Parker, sorry for the delay. You're here on case number 2020 CF 1161680. These are felony charges. I'll appoint a public defender, that's a lawyer, to help you with your case. On counts 1 through 8, you're here for charges of possession of material depicting sexual performance by a child and probable cause has been found. And then count 9, transmission of child porn, and count 10, unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Public defender, do you want to be heard on his monetary bond?
We're asking for a monetary bond, Your Honor,
What
within his
amount?
reach. What's that, Your Honor?
What kind of amount are you seeking?
Within his financial range, means, Your Honor.
Okay, based on what I'm hearing, and I see he has above average risk, one prior failure to appear, and some history. On counts 1 through 7, I'm going to set bond at $2,500 per count. I'm sorry, strike that. Counts 1 through 8. On count 9, I'll set bond at $150. Count 10, I'll set bond at $150. Here are the conditions of your release, George Parker. You're
Yes.
not to have any contact with any person under the age of 18. Additionally, you're not to use, you're not to have possession of any, you're not to have any internet access while this is pending, with the exception for any recreational purposes. Anything else, state or defense?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Honor.
Parker. Mr. LaFay will work your case in as soon as, if you'd like to.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Michael Williams, are you Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Williams, you're here for case number 14 CF 16041880. I'm going to appoint a public defender for your violation of probation. I've confirmed that there is a violation by committing, by getting arrested, and you'll remain at no bond, Mr. Williams. Good luck to you. Thank you. Is that Joe Lovett?
No, Mr. LaFay, client.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I was unable to download a copy of the arrest report from the computer. It was not posted.
What's your client's name?
His name is Joshua Ramirez.
Joshua Ramirez. Okay, we'll pull it.
Are you gonna need a minute, Mr. LaFay?
I can take somebody else while he's reviewing it.
Yeah, I would need about 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. Here you go, sir. You can approach.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Is this my copy or should I return it?
You need it back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, what's your name?
Joe, look.
Mr. Lovett, you're here for, you're here in case number 2020 MM51480 for a violation of probation. Sir, I do have an affidavit that you were on probation for exposure of sexual organs, and you're being held on no bond status. Sir, you make too much money to qualify for a public defender. Let me just ask you again, are you paid every week? Answer out loud.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's your take-home pay?
$350.
Okay, and do you support anybody?
And my mom.
Okay, you support your mom? Does that change anything? One dependent? All right, you do now qualify for a public defender. Defense counsel, this is one of my cases. What do you want to do? Enter plea of not, enter denials?
I'll put a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay,
Your
so
Honor.
it's a VOP, so I'll enter denials. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, enter denials. You'll remain set at no bond status. Thank you.
I don't understand. Nothing just happened.
No, she just
defense and state on VOPs, it's usually an admission or denial, whereas other cases, it's guilty, not guilty, or no contest, just to keep it clean.
Okay, Your Honor.
All right, sir, tell me your name.
Justin Rodney Villaverde Reyes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes, can we get a VOP date for the last one? You just called that out for me. All right, Mr. Villareyes, you're here for a violation of probation. Sir, you were placed on probation back in July of this year, and it's alleged that you got arrested for possession of alprazolam as well as loitering and prowling. Probable cause has been found. Sir, do you support anybody
So, support anybody like
in your
dependents?
family?
No.
Okay. And you earn $1,000 take home every 2 weeks?
Yeah, I pay rent and stuff, but
Okay,
that's about
so
it.
you make too much money to qualify for a public defender. Do you have somebody outside of jail who could hire an attorney for you?
I have my attorney for my other case.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set your case for a determination of counsel in about 5 days, and we'll set it on Thursday. And see if your finances have changed, and you'll be in jail and you won't be able to work. And we'll give you a violation of probation date. Thank you, sir.
Sorry. How will I arrange my finances? Like, will I still be in jail?
Well, we'll have you fill out another application for the public defender. You're being held on no bond status under violation of probation.
So I can go.
What?
I'm sorry. So I can go on no bond
No,
status?
you can't go. You're going to be remaining in jail.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll give him a DOC and a VOP date. Ma'am, what's your name?
Andrea Cornejo.
You're here in case 2020 CF 11641 for charges of aggravated battery as well as battery. Both of these are domestic in nature. Is Lowry present? Victim Lowry? All right, do you want a public defender to help you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I find probable cause. And you do, defense, do you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant qualifies for pretrial release.
All right, without hearing from the victim on count one, I'm going to modify the bond to $1,000. On count two, pretrial release. I'm going to order no contact with the victim, no return to the scene of the crime, one-time return as long as she's accompanied by a police officer, no weapons to be surrendered within 12 hours. I'm also going to put her on pretrial release for the resisting officer with violence charge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are you Mr. Craven?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Craven, you're here in case 2020 CF 11643 for charges of aggravated battery on a pregnant person as well as battery domestic violence. Is witness Shelby here? No response. Have you heard from the victim in this case? Anybody?
Me, Your Honor?
No, the corrections.
Victim contact wasn't made.
Okay, thank you. Sir, based on your history, which includes some violent crimes, on count one, I'm setting your bond at $5,000. On count two, I'll set your bond at $100 with the condition that you have no contact with the victim, you not possess any weapons, and you maintain a separate residence. If you post bond, you have a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer. But again, no contact with the victim shall be this case. Anything else from the PD's office?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, cool.
Roger Franklin. Roger Franklin. Are you Roger Franklin?
Yes.
Sir, you were arrested for a charge of aggravated assault with a firearm in case 20 CF 11628AO. This is a felony offense, and I'm going to appoint a public defender. Ma'am, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give today is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Estelle Franklin.
And how do you know Mr. Franklin?
We've been married.
Are you in fear of him?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Are you afraid of him?
Yes.
Do you want to have contact with him?
No.
All right, just state, any questions?
I don't want no contact
Your
at
Honor.
all with him.
Okay, so this is over here in the gray jacket, that's his lawyer. Counsel, do you have any questions for her?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else from defense?
The defendant qualifies for pretrial release. We asked for that and no contact with the victim, Your Honor.
Ma'am, do you know where he's going to live if he can't live with you?
Him?
Yes.
I don't know where he's gonna live.
You can stay in the house. Do you know where he would go?
I don't know.
Based on your history with him, do you have any concerns that he would come back to the house if I told him not to?
No, I don't want him to come back. I don't want to have no contact at all with him.
Okay. Based on the facts of this case, I'm going to set his bond at $500 plus pretrial release. Mr. Franklin, you're to have no contact with your wife.
Yes.
You cannot return to the house for any reason whatsoever. You
Yes.
need to live somewhere else.
Yes.
Also, you're not allowed to have any weapons. If you have any weapons, they need to be surrendered to the police at the time, and I'm going to give you a one-time return. So, ma'am, he has to call the police department, arrange for them to meet him. They'll meet, and the police officer will come back to the house with him. He must have a police officer with him, and you have to surrender your weapons within 12 hours of your release from jail. Do you have any questions, Mr. Franklin?
My question is, I have to go get my clothes over there to sleep to my daughter.
Okay. How
Yes.
old is your daughter?
My daughter, she's 52.
How old?
52.
Okay, so your daughter can call you. You still can't go to the house except the one time with the police officer.
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
My question is, I come in from work, I don't pull my gun never point to nobody in my life, you know. I don't point gun at my wife. I come very quietly.
So no, you can't go back.
Yeah,
Even
yes.
if you're quiet or noisy,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
go back. This is one of your lawyers, and
Yeah.
he'll explain to you what all of that means in detail.
Yes.
Miss Franklin, do you have any questions for me?
No.
All right, you understand he's not allowed back, and he'll come back one time, but he has to have the police officer. Thank you for following up with me. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Franklin. Your
Thank you.
attorney will explain what all this means. Sir, what's your name?
Nazaré García.
Sir, you're here in case number 2020 CF 11228 for a charge of throwing a deadly missile into an occupied structure, aggravated stalking domestic, criminal mischief, and threat to a public official or family member. Is Heather here?
No.
Okay, Heather's not here. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause, and so did the warrant. I'll stay the bond on count 1 at $5,000. Count 2, I'll set it $150. Count 3, $150, and count 4, $150. I'll treat those as subsidiary bonds. Mr. Garcia Feliciano, you're to have no contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons, and you cannot return to the home. You need to live separately from Heather. I'll give you a one-time return and you must surrender weapons within 12 hours. Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Garcia Feliciano.
Your Honor, Mr. LaFay, client is ready.
And what's your client's name again, Mr. LaFay?
Joshua Ramirez.
Okay, let me just find his, Corrections, can you cheat and give me your face sheet? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, case number 2020 CF 11596. Go ahead and put your appearance on the record.
Your Honor, I'm Michael Lefay, and I am representing Mr. Ramirez.
All right, Mr. Ramirez, you're here for charges, your first appearance. You're here for charges of burglary of an occupied structure, aggravated assault with a firearm, battery, criminal mischief and tampering with witness to hinder communication to law enforcement officer. Mr. LaFay, do you want to be heard on bond and PC?
Your Honor, the totality of my arguments will be about bond. I've reviewed the
right.
the arrest affidavit.
So for the
I don't-
record, I do find that there's probable cause for all these charges. I'll hear from you on bond, sir.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would ask for, I deduce some testimony from Mr. Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, raise your right hand. Go ahead.
Do you swear affirm that the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Ramirez, do you have any prior criminal record whatsoever?
Never.
And how old are you?
45.
Are you married?
26 years.
You have to speak up, of course.
26 years.
And how many children do you have?
2.
Your daughter Jaden, how old is she?
18.
Do you have a business?
Yes.
What's the name of your business?
Jack 9 Media.
You have to speak up, I'm sorry.
Jack 9 Media LLC.
How long have you lived in Central Florida?
4 years.
Do you own or rent your home?
I rent.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, State, do you have any questions for Mr. Ramirez?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. LaFay, any position on bond and the amounts?
Your Honor, I'm asking for, in total, a total bond of $5,000. And if I could, Mr. Ramirez, do you have the ability to post a $5,000 bond if you use a bondsman?
Yes. I mean, yes.
So I'd ask for a $5,000 bond, of course, basically split amongst the various offenses. Of course, we're dealing with two yardsticks here. The first one is whether or not Mr. Ramirez poses a flight risk, and I don't see that there can be any evidence of that or that there is any evidence of that. And he seems to have substantial local ties, so I think that's a non-issue here. Insofar as Mr. Ramirez posing a danger to the public, typically we gauge that on a prior record and what his prior record might be. Of course, we also look at the circumstances of the offense, but I'd say at least using the fact that, or utilizing the fact that Mr. Ramirez has absolutely no prior record whatsoever at all, that's a significant factor for the court to consider. And so those are my arguments, Your Honor. I'd ask for a $5,000 bond spread out amongst the offenses.
State, do you have any questions for him and any response to his bond request?
No, Your Honor. I would leave it to the court's discretion.
So, Mr. Ramirez, do you work?
Yes, I own my own business.
Okay, and what business is that?
Jack 9 Media LLC.
I'm sorry, what is it?
It's a media company.
And in the scope of your business, is there any reason for you to be in contact with the alleged victims of this case?
No.
Based on his lack of criminal history, I'm going to go ahead and do the following. On count 1, I'm going to set bond at $3,000 plus pretrial release. On count 2, I'll set bond at $1,500 plus pretrial release. Count 3, $100 plus pretrial release. Count 4, straight pretrial release. And count 5, straight pretrial release. Here are the conditions. Pretrial release right now is a phone-in situation. You must surrender your
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Pretrial release is phone-in right now. You need to comply with all instructions for pretrial release. I'm also ordering that you not possess any weapons. If you have any weapons, they must be surrendered to law enforcement. Go to your local police station within 12 hours of your release and surrender them. You're not to have any contact with any of these victims or witnesses. From my reading of this, it sounds like your child has a relationship or had a relationship with one of them. You're to have no third-party contact either, so don't use your daughter to communicate with them. Understood?
Understood.
Anything else, State?
What was the bond? What was for count 3? The bond status?
Count 3, I did 100 plus pretrial release.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. LaFay?
Your Honor, just at one point of clarification. Mr. Ramirez's daughter, Jaden, in my reading of the police report, there's no indication she witnessed anything.
No, I'm not ordering no contact with Jaden. I'm just ordering no contact, no third-party contact, not to use his daughter to contact them.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thanks for having me
Thank you for your
clarify
time.
that. Mr. LaFay, do you have any other matters before me?
I do not, if I could be excused.
Yes, have a good weekend, sir.
You as well, Your Honor. Thank you.
Rafael Medina's next. Give me a moment. Mr. Medina, you're here in case number 2020 CF 11607. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
No.
You plan to hire your own attorney or represent yourself, Mr. Medina?
Represent myself.
All right, you're here for a charge of attempted second-degree murder with a weapon. I do want to point out that all of your statements are being recorded and can be used against you. Mr. Medina, do you have any legal training?
No.
And what's the highest grade that you finished in school?
11th grade.
Okay, and are you sure do you know what the maximum penalty or what kind of felony this is even?
No.
Are you sure you don't want a lawyer from the public defender's office to help you with your case? And if you want to fire him down the line, you can do that?
Can I look into it further?
Well, I'm doing your first appearance now, so you make the decision now. If you change your mind, you can write a letter asking for a public defender.
All right.
What do you want to do?
I'll probably write a letter looking for a public defender.
All right, I'll find that based on his questions that you understand you're going to be remaining at no bond status, right?
Yes.
And you know how to get a bond?
No, I have no idea.
Are you sure you don't want a lawyer to assist you?
Sure.
You do now want one?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a chance to fill out an application for the public defenders. I'll appoint the public defender based on the nature of the charges. I find probable cause and I'll hold him at no bond. Mr. Medina, you're to have no contact with the victim in this case, Anencia Medina. You need to maintain a separate residence. You can't go back there. You're not allowed to possess any weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to police department within 12 hours of your release of you getting a bond. Thank you, sir. Oh, yes, I'm appointing a PD. Sorry, I slid that to you. No good. Devontae Ramirez Beasley.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, victims on the phone. All right, Mr. Beasley, good morning. You're here for two different cases. Do you want a public defender in your new case?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender to help you with your case in 2020 CF 10948. I do find probable cause. I understand I have the victim on the phone. Ma'am, tell me your name.
Rebecca Fudge Guerra.
All right. Ma'am, how do you know Mr. Ramirez Beasley?
That's the father of my child.
Do you live together?
No, ma'am.
Are you in fear of him?
I'm sorry?
Are you afraid of him?
No, ma'am.
Do you want to have contact with him?
For the baby, we can do like a third-party contact.
But there's no reason for him to contact you, maybe just with text messaging? Is that going to work?
Yes, ma'am.
State, do you have any questions for the victim in this case?
No, ma'am.
State,
Yes. Has there been previous incidences such as this?
Yeah, we have a previous incident on file. Yes.
Has any children been present during any of those incidences?
No.
And would you be able to call 911 if anything like this would happen again?
Yes.
Stay has no further questions.
defense, any questions?
All right, thank you.
For Ms. Fudge-Guerrero?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to start with your attorney. counsel for defense. He has a case where he's out on bond already with an upcoming court date in December, and then he also has the new charge. What's your position on out on bond and new bond?
We ask that you don't revoke the previous bond and the new bond within his financial reach.
State?
Your Honor, based on the victim's testimony, we would ask that you would revoke his bond on the previous case.
All right. I am going to revoke your release in case number 2020 CF766AO. Sir, based on your criminal history, you'll be held at no bond on that case.
So
What?
So based on what she said, I can't get no bond?
No, that's on your old case. You had a bond, and then you had this new allegation. But on the case that she's talking about, I will give you a bond. On count 2, I'm going to set your bond at $150. Stay the bond on count 1. You're to have no contact with Ms. Fudge Guerra, with the limited exception of non-hostile text messaging once a day for purposes of the trial only. Ms. Fudge Guerra, you can arrange for third-party visitation once a week. Will that work for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so somebody else needs to be there. You give the baby to one of his family members or your family members. You're not to talk about the case. Mr. Beasley, you're not to go to her house for any reason, and you're not to have any weapons. All weapons need to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release. Sir, do you have any questions for me?
Yes. So on one of my bonds, I don't have a bond on it. I have to go to another court and get a bond?
Yes, in case number 2020 CF766AO, you were arrested back in January, released in January, and when you have that kind of case, you're not supposed to commit a new law offense.
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. And do you have any questions, Ms. Fudge Guerra, for me?
No. No, ma'am.
All right, thank you for your testimony. You can go ahead and disconnect.
All right, thank you.
Saul Ramirez. Are you Mr. Ramirez?
Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, case 2020 CF11506. Sir, you were arrested for a charge of battery by strangulation. Ma'am, go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
And you can put your hand down. Tell me your name.
Magda Medina.
I can't hear you. You can take your mask off, so you're in isolation.
Magda Medina.
And Miss Medina, how do you know Saul Rivera Muniz?
He was my live-in boyfriend.
Are you afraid of him?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you want him to return to the home?
No.
Are there any weapons in the home?
Yes.
Are there any firearms in the home?
Yes.
And was any drugs or alcohol on his part involved?
I wouldn't know. I left for 4 days.
Now, he does have, do you want a public defender to help you with your case, Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender. State, do you have any questions for Ms. Medina?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Defense, what's your position on this?
Defense is asking for a monetary bond within his financial means without contact with the victim.
How long have you been living with him?
7 months on and off.
Does your voice usually sound like that?
No, ma'am.
Sir, I am concerned about the safety of this victim and the community. I'm also concerned about your violent history, as well as your future court appearances, and substance abuse issues. I'm setting your bond at $7,500, sir. You're to have no contact whatsoever with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons. If you do post this bond, you need to surrender any weapons within 12 hours. You are not to return to where she's living, working, or is known to frequent. I'll give you a one-time return as long as you have a police officer accompanying you. After that, you can't go back. You're also not permitted to possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or alcohol. To ensure that, I'm going to have you phone into pretrial release. So it's $7,500 bond plus pretrial release. That'll conclude your case. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
Really, I don't even think he deserves a bond.
Ma'am, I understand the state can move and ask the court for no bond at a later time, but he is legally entitled to bond based on the nature of the offense. I did set a higher bond based on the facts and his history. Thank you.
Okay,
Good luck
thank
to you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you. No. I did plus, it is 7,500 plus pretrial release. Sir, what's your name?
Miguel Segovia.
Mr. Segovia, you're here in case number 2020 CF 11604. Corrections, have you been in contact with the victim of this case?
No.
Yes,
And what did she say,
she
if
was,
anything?
that she would attend court.
All right. Is the victim, oh, no response. Okay, so with nobody present, sir, do you want a public defender? That's a lawyer to help you with your case.
Yes, please.
I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with this case. Sir, I'm going to set, I do find probable cause. I'm going to set your bond at $2,500, no return to the residence, no contact with the victim, no weapons to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release, and I'll allow you a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moses Velasquez. Sir, what's your name?
Moses Velasquez.
Sir, you're here for a number of cases, a total of 4 of them. Let me go ahead and begin by appointing a public defender to help you with all of these cases. Sir, you have 2 on-view violations of probation from Seminole County cases, respectively cases 15 CF 3221 and 14 CF 10595, where you're being held at no bond based on the new offenses. In Orange County case number 20 MM 248 AE and 20 CF 11649 AO, I find probable cause for the charges of battery, as well as obstructing justice and intimidating or threatening a witness. Ma'am, tell me your name, please.
Emilia Rodriguez.
Ms. Rodriguez, how do you know Mr. Velasquez?
He's my fiance.
Do you live together?
We don't live together.
Okay, when did you stop living together, if you ever did?
He went to prison.
Okay, and then he, okay, so are you afraid of him?
No, not at all.
Do you want to have contact with him?
Of course, we have 4 children together.
All right, state, any questions?
Has there been any previous incidences like this in the past?
No, sir.
Was any children present during this incident?
No, sir.
Would you be able to call 911 if an event like this would happen again?
Of course, yes.
Say has no further questions.
No questions, Your Honor.
Defense?
No questions, Your Honor.
Corrections on that Seminole County case, do you have the named victim from 2014?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir, in the case for tampering a witness, I'm going to set your bond at $2,500 with the condition that you have no contact with that victim and you not possess any weapons. In case number 20 MM 248AO, I'll order no hostile contact, possess no weapons, and I'll set your bond at $1,000 in that matter. But you are being held at no bond on your violations of probation. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
So,
Ex-
so no contact, ma'am?
1,000 and then I think I did 2,000 on the obstructing. 2,000? Yes.
So ma'am, no contact?
No, the other victim is one of the neighbors. No contact with that victim witness.
The neighbor?
Wait, excuse me. Excuse me. There was no neighbor ever present anywhere.
All right, thank you for your testimony, ma'am. I appreciate it. He can have contact with you, so you can call her from BRC and communicate. But there is a named witness, victim in the second case, and you're to have no contact with her. Anything else?
Ma'am, I think we're getting confused. Were we speaking about the 2014 case, ma'am?
No, you're being held at no bond on those. One of
Correct.
the conditions when you're on probation in 2014 and 2015 is that you're not to have, commit any new law violations.
Correct. I'm just trying to specify the other person because there wasn't any other person present.
Okay, let me rephrase it. You're to have no contact with any witnesses in that case.
Okay.
What? On the felony case. You can read the affidavit, go through it with your attorney, so you know the names of the witnesses, but you're to have no contact with the witness.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Defense, do you understand what I mean by that?
Excuse me.
The no contact with the witness?
With the witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
But he can have contact with me, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I didn't understand what you said. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, can you tell me your name?
Pablo Castillo.
Mr. Castillo, you're here for a charge of battery domestic violence. Is Zacula Dela Cruz present? Mr. Castillo, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender in 2020 MM 7004AO. I find probable cause for the charge of battery. I know you qualify for pretrial release, but since I have not heard from the victim, I'm setting your bond at $500. You're to have no contact with the victim, no return to the residence, maintain separate residence, with the exception of one time with a police officer to collect your belongings. And you're also not allowed to possess any weapons to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo.
Okay.
Roger Kelly. Are you Mr. Kelly?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Mr. Kelly. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
In 2020 MM 7014, you were arrested for battery, dating violence, and I do find probable cause. Sir, you are entitled to a monetary bond. Based on where you usually live, I'm setting your bond at $1,000.
Okay.
You're to have no contact with the victim, maintain separate residence, and you're not to possess any weapons. Sir, I do need to remind you that even if you do post this bond, there is a hold out of Duval County, Florida. So that might need to be addressed by your public defender.
Okay.
Thank you. State the next one, I'm going to need some information. What's your name, sir?
Stephen Qualls.
Mr. Qualls, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
State, in case number 2020 MM 1259AO, he is out on bond. I show he has a returnable date of 11/5 for resisting. What do you want me to do on that case?
State would ask you that you would revoke his bond in the previous case.
Do you have a factual basis for it?
One moment, Your Honor.
All right, in the meantime, sir, you're here for a charge of battery domestic violence with victim Lawrence Stutman. I think that's pronouncing that, Stutman.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to appoint a lawyer from the public defender's office. You are entitled to a bond for that. I see that you're on an open case and you have a failure to appear. So I'm going to set your bond at $1,000 on the domestic, no contact, no return to the scene of the crime, and possess no weapons. I'll give you a one-time return as long as you have a police officer accompanying you. Let me see what I'm going to do on this MM case.
Can't see the line.
here.
Do you have a factual basis for me, State?
Yes, Your Honor. Just, it was on February 15, 2020. Law enforcement responded to a call for service in reference to a mentally ill person. Law enforcement was driving a marked vehicle and was wearing an issued uniform with patch and a badge. While assisting law enforcement observed the defendant pacing up and down the driveway and yelling and pointing at law enforcement and other deputies. Several minutes later, defendant walked from the driveway onto the street toward law enforcement and other deputies.
All right, thank you, State, that, and he didn't comply with lawful commands?
He did not.
All right, defense, if you want me to resolve his case, and case number, got a pen handy?
Yes.
2020 MM 125980. State and information was filed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, on March 3rd,
I'll
2020.
adjudicate time served. He has 5 or 6 days in.
7 days.
And do court costs, so he's not being held at no bond. I'll give you a moment to speak with Mr. Qualls.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Kelly Resto, what? 7 days in. Thank you.
He'd like to plea, Your Honor.
He wants to plead?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, have you went over a plea form? Have you went over a plea form in the past?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm going to have you step aside, review a plea form.
Okay, thank you.
Kenny Resto.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Resto.
Good morning.
You're here in case number 2020 MM 7016 for a charge of battery with the alleged victim, Ms. Gonzalez. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I do find that there is probable cause for this offense. Have you heard from the victim?
No contact was made.
All right, sir, based on the facts of this case as well as your criminal history and to assure future court appearances, I'm setting your bond at $1,000 plus pretrial release. You'll need to comply with those conditions. You're to have no contact with the victim, no return to where she lives, maintain a separate residence. I'll give you a one-time return as long as you have a police officer and any weapons need to be surrendered within 12 hours. This gentleman or in his office from the public defenders will assist you with the case.
Thank you, Mom.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Mr. Qualls is legally blind. He can't read it, so I'd have to have time to go over it with him, so we're not going to be able to do it right this second.
Okay, it's a misdemeanor. I can go ahead and do it without a plea form. And I'll just,
Okay.
Mr. Qualls, before coming to court today, did you meet with your lawyers? Not necessarily him, but another attorney from the public defender's office?
No, ma'am.
Do you need time to speak with them?
I don't think I do I?
All right, if at any point you change your mind and you want to talk to your lawyer, you let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what guilty, no contest, and not guilty mean?
Yes, ma'am. I watched the TV thing.
All right, thank you. And have you taken any drugs, alcohol, medicine, or do you have any
Alcohol.
health effect? Hold on, do you have any health issues that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any problems understanding the English language?
No, ma'am.
If you were on probation back in February, do you understand your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated, under the laws of the state, you would be civilly committed. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
If by resolving your case today, you understand you're giving up your right to trial and bring up any defenses.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you need any more time to talk to your lawyer?
No, ma'am.
How do you plead to the charge of resisting officer without violence, a misdemeanor of the first degree? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty.
And has anybody forced you to say guilty?
No, ma'am.
Sir, at this time, you're adjudicated guilty. I'll give you credit for time served of 7 days. I'll give you until December 31st of 2021 to pay your court costs and your public defender's fee. Sir, you still need to post bond on your battery charge, but your other case is now closed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.
Your Honor, I apologize. What was the bond status for the current charge?
I believe 2,000.
What was Qualls' battery? 1,000?
1,000.
1,000.
Okay.
12/31/2021. Michael Runyon?
Yeah.
Mr. Runyon, you're here in 2020 MM 7002AO. That's your case number. Sir, you were arrested for a charge of battery, domestic violence, and I do find probable cause. Sir, do you want a public defender to help you with your case? No? All right, and he has no history?
No, Your Honor.
Sir, do you, where would you live if you weren't living with the victim?
Boardwalk.
What? I can't hear you.
11909 Boardwalk.
Doesn't the victim live there?
Huh?
Doesn't the victim live there?
No. I've been living with her, but I have my own place too.
Defense, can you tell me what he's saying? I'm not.
What he's saying, Your Honor? He's saying he's living at a different address, but what's the original address?
Of her place?
Where were you living, and then where will you be living now?
And where does the victim live?
The victim lives at University Boulevard, 1120 something, I remember. But I live at Boardwalk. It's like 5 minutes away from her.
Sir, based on your lack of history, I'm going to put you on pretrial release. You're to have no contact with the victim, no contact with the guy who you saw in her room. You're not to possess any weapons, no return to where she lives. And I'm putting you on pretrial release. Surrender any weapons within 6 hours of your release from jail. Thank you, Mr. Runyon.
All right, thank you.
Christopher Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Mr. Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, probable cause has been charged for the crime of battery, domestic violence, as well as criminal mischief. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
No, ma'am.
All right, corrections, have you heard from the victim?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Sir, you are entitled to a monetary bond. On count 1, I'm going to set your bond at $1,500. On count 2, I'll stay the bond. I'm also ordering that you not have any contact with the victim, no return to where the victim lives, and you're not to have any weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 6 hours of your release based on your history.
So no attorney?
What?
No attorney.
No attorney. You're waiving your attorney, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. What's your name, sir?
VJ Barrett.
Mr. Barrett, you're here in case number 2020 CF 7417. Sir, you failed to appear for your court case for a charge of possession of cocaine. Do you already have a lawyer?
No.
Do you want a public defender?
Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender. Your bond is stayed at $2,000. Thank you, Mr. Barrett.
Thank you.
Arthur Bradshaw. Are you Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for an add-on case in case number 2020 CF 11623 for a charge of burglary, conveyance, and criminal mischief. I'll appoint a public defender to help you. I'll stay your bonds, and I find probable cause. Your total bond is $3,650. Thank you.
I don't get no paperwork.
What did he say? Sir, what's your name?
Sir Edmund.
Mr. Edmund, you're here because you failed to appear for your court cases. You have, and you have 3 cases, 19MM 2902. You failed to appear. Your bond is, in Division 80, you're to be placed on pretrial release. Mental health pretrial release in case number 17 CF 920AO. You failed to appear. You're at no bond status. And an MM 1868AA. You're here for a charge of resisting merchant recovery and petty theft. If you would like to resolve that, what's his time served? Anybody?
Okay, May yesterday.
18MM68AA. State, have you filed an information in that case?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, can you repeat the case number?
18MM68AA.
Your Honor, I apologize. I don't have any information
Okay,
as to his prior
7 days,
cases.
Your Honor.
7 days. You didn't file an information. Did it start off as an NTA? Sunshine is their info. All right, Mr. Edmond, if you would like to resolve your 2018 case, you'll still be held at no bond on the other case in mental health pretrial release. I would do an adjudication time served. Defense counsel, do you want to speak with him about those cases, charges?
No, Your Honor.
What?
Not right this second, Your Honor? Or,
Oh, I'm sorry, he has competency issues. I can't do anything.
I just found the case, and yes, an information was filed on 3/9/2018, and then there is a competency status hearing that was set for February 3rd, 2020.
I can't do anything with that, so I'll go ahead and keep him at no bond then,
okay, Your Honor.
to file any motions. Thank you, sir. Bobby Higgs?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Higgs, you're here for, because you failed to appear for a charge of driving with license suspended, and you also have a new case for fleeing and attempting to elude with lights and sirens activated. You will get a bond in that. Do you want a public defender to help you?
Yes.
Okay, in your old case for driving with license suspended, if you want to resolve that, the offer is an adjudication, time served, plus court cost. I would give you until February 15th of 2021 to pay that, and I would give you a bond in the fleeing and attempting to elude. I'll appoint a public defender. Do you want to plea on the driving with license suspended case?
We'd like to speak with him first, Your Honor.
Okay, pass. Okay, the next case I'm addressing is Chiquita Jackson. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give you a chance to speak with him. Okay, counsel, what are we doing with his DWLS?
We're not going to plead today, Your Honor.
All right, he'll remain at $500 bond on that, and on the fleeing and attempting to elude based on the fact that he had a DWLS in his criminal history. I'll set bond at $2,500. Thank you. Sir, tell me your name.
Your Honor, my name is Teofilo Moakimani.
Sir, you're here for charge of possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. You qualify for a public defender. They can help you with your case. On count 1, I'll reduce your bond to $500. On count 2, I'll stay it at $100. Your total bond is now $600, and I find probable cause. Thank you, Mr. Kamani.
Thank you.
The next person is James Dracon Lodi.
He refused, Your Honor.
All right, in case number 2020 CF 11605BO, I do find that there's probable cause. There was a capias issued. I'll appoint a public defender and stay the bonds. The next case is Yamel Lopez Acevedo. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Sir, you're here for a charge of possession of fentanyl. Corrections, does he qualify for pretrial release?
Yes, Your Honor.
He does?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put you on pretrial release, and I'll give you a public defender. You're not to use any illegal drugs. Thank you, Mr. Lopez Acevedo. All right, Iris Medina?
Bonded.
What's your name, please?
Daniel Montgomery.
Mr. Montgomery, I'm going to be addressing a couple of cases on your, do you want a public defender at all of them?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender to assist you with your case. In 1812901, officer did an on-view violation of probation for Volusia County. You'll be held at no bond on that case. In case number 2020 CF 11605DO, you are arrested for a charge of RICO, conspiracy to engage in racketeering, and grand theft of $20,000 or more. Defense, do you want to be heard on bond on that? Probable cause has already been found.
Defense would like a bond within his reason, with financial means.
Okay, I don't know anything about him, so do you want to go ahead and,
The defendant's unemployed, Your Honor, and hasn't been employed and doesn't have a way to pay the bond.
okay. And then you also have a second charge of grand theft motor vehicle. Give me a moment to review this one more time. State, do you have anything for me?
In regards to the grant of the motor vehicle,
In regards to his request for bond?
I'll leave it to the court's discretion.
All right, on count one, I'm going to set bond at $5,000. On count two, I'll set bond at $5,000. On count three, I'll modify bond to $25,000. And on count one, I'll stay the bond on the grand theft, and that'll be at $1,000. You're to have no contact with any victims, witnesses, or co-defendants.
What about from Volusia, Your Honor?
Volusia, you're at no bond.
All right.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Robert Ramos.
Let me pass this over to you. Mr. Ramos, I believe you have 3 different cases. Do you want a public defender? I'm sorry.
I believe one was
2 different.
yeah, one was I was supposed to be the court to sign for time served on the warrant, and I missed it by a few minutes, and then keep
Sir,
falling.
keep your mask on. I do want to remind you that
Sorry, it
all
keeps
of your
coming down. I'm
statements
sorry.
are being recorded and can be used against you. Mr. Ramos, I'm going to appoint a public defender in your new cases. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can you please explain it again?
Do you want a public defender to help you with your case? You
Which-
have new cases. Do you want a lawyer to help you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to appoint a public defender to.
What's the
assist-
new case? I'm sorry.
I'll get there in a second.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. I'll appoint a public defender to help you. All right, you were arrested because you failed to appear in case number 2020 CF 3307, and you're being held at no bond for a charge of possession of a controlled substance. In case number 2020 MM 700AO, you were arrested for a charge of false identification to a law enforcement officer, and I do find probable cause. That's your new case, and your bond is strike that, $500. And then in case number 2019 CF 4302AO, you're already out on bond. I'm going to revoke your bond in that case with no new bonds. If you want to resolve your, okay, and that'll be everything. Thank you, sir.
So what's the
The next person is Uziel Miguel Rivera Ramos. Give me just a moment. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case? That's a lawyer. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case, sir?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender before I proceed with his first appearance. Anything from the defense?
We ask that you set bond, Your Honor.
All right, I did probable causes here. You're here for 3 counts of lewd or lascivious molestation on a victim less than 12 years of age. And I do find that there's probable cause. What kind of bond do you want?
It's to the court's discretion, Your Honor.
And state anything.
No, Your Honor.
Give me a moment.
I give him paperwork. I give him paperwork.
All right, sir, on each count, I'm going to set bond at $5,000. No contact with any person under the age of 12. And you're to have no contact with the victim or her family. And you're not to possess any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered within 12 hours of your release. Thank you, sir. Oh, sir. Tyrone Rivers. Are you Tyrone Rivers?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with your case. I do want to point out that that there is also a hold for you out of Sarasota and Volusia counties. On count 1, I'll set a bond of $5,000. On count 2, conspiracy to engage in racketeering, set bond at $5,000. So that's for the RICO and conspiracy. And then you have a $50,000 bond for the charge of grand theft over $20,000 or more. And I'm appointing a public defender, but there is a hold on you. Thank you, Mr. Rivers. 5 and 5. 5,000, 5,000, stay. What? Yes. Elijah Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Smith, you're here for a charge of possession of MDMA. I'm appointing a public defender. I'm putting you on pretrial release with the condition that you not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Renee Smoots. Ms. Smoots, hi, you're here for a charge of possession of fentanyl and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with your case. If I released you from jail, do you know where you would live?
Yes,
Where would that be?
444 Marat Street.
I'm going to have you give that address to corrections. I'm going to put you on pretrial release with the condition that you not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or have any drug paraphernalia, since I found probable cause. Yes, defense.
Defense has a probable cause challenge, Your Honor. The spoon and needle found on the ground nearby is not sufficient to warrant an arrest for probable cause.
Okay, the needle is for the drug paraphernalia, and then there was fentanyl, and it was field tested presumptive.
Yes, Your Honor, that was after the arrest was made, the search was made upon arrest, but I don't believe there was a probable cause to place the defendant in handcuffs and arrest her and search.
Okay, so you're alleging a search and seizure issue now, right? Probable cause is, let me go ahead and double check. Okay, it sounds like you may have some other issues in this case, but I do overrule your objection and find probable cause. And I'm putting her on pretrial release.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Eric Svensson.
Refuse, Your Honor.
All right, in case number 2020 CF 277680, he already has a public defender. I'm revoking his release in that matter. In case number 2020 CF 116480, I'll appoint a public defender. I find probable cause and I'll stay those bonds. Are you Mr. Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have something to add for this case.
Okay, give me just a moment to find what I'm looking for. Mr. Thomas, do you want a tell me your full name.
Malachi Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, you're here in case number 2020 CF 1106. You were arrested for a charge of accessory after the fact for a capital felony. Yesterday, what would you like to add?
I received an email earlier this morning from one of our ASAs from the homicide unit, and they asked that you order the affidavit for his arrest warrant to be sealed. There was a a motion that was submitted, but however wasn't appearing on the clerk's website. A similar motion was filed in 2020 CF 10909.
I'm sorry, 2020 CF.
10909.
And do you have the motion for me?
I do not.
All right, so you want me to treat it as an or tennis request to seal?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and will you be following up with a written motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you going to be here tomorrow?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and grant that or tennis request to seal the affidavit, and we'll put that on the court minutes, and you need to follow with a written motion. All right, do you want to be heard on bond? I did find probable cause on accessory after the fact.
I cannot hear you, ma'am.
What?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
No, ma'am. My father is getting me a lawyer.
Okay, you're going to hire your own attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to set, based on the facts of this case, I'm going to set your bond at $10,000, no weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be, they do need to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release from jail.
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
If you own weapons, you can't have any anymore. You need to go take them to the police department and surrender them. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I'm partially deaf. It's
No,
not you.
I'm losing my voice, so I totally understand. So it's a $10,000 bond. You have 6 hours from the time of your release to surrender your weapons. You're to have no contact with any victims or witnesses. Okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Andre Tillman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Tillman, you're here in case number 2020 CF 1266AO. You're already out on bond, and I believe you have a public defender. And then you're also here in 2020 CF 11636 for a new charge of carrying a concealed weapon by a convicted felon. And then you have another felony case where you missed your court date for cocaine. Do you want a public defender in your new case?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stay all the bonds. I find probable cause, and on your old case, ending in 1266AO, I'm going to revoke your release. Hold you at no bond. Thanks, Mr. Tillman. Mr. Nguyen.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Nguyen, you're already on pretrial release, and you already have a public defender. Let me check something. 25th. All right, do you want a public defender to help you with your new cases?
Can it be combined, or is it's pretty much with the same, this is stemming from the same case from last week?
You don't need to say anything else. My question is, do you want
Okay,
a public
yes, ma'am.
defender? Okay. So 2020 CF 11630AO, you were arrested for possession of methamphetamines. Your bond, I find probable cause, and I'll stay your bond at $1,000, Mr. Nguyen. And then in case number 2020 CF 11615, you're here for a charge of tampering with physical evidence, and you do have a bond of $1,500 with the condition of no firearms, weapons, or ammunition, no return, no contact with the victim or any witnesses, and no drugs or alcohol without a prescription. And then you also have case number 2020 CF 11264 and 2020 CF 11289. And it sounds like these were alleged to have occurred beforehand, so I'll take no action on the out on bonds. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sebastian Chavez. Are you Mr. Chavez?
I'm Jose Caraballo.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Let me get my
Oh, got
paperwork,
the wrong.
sir. Mr. Caraballo, you're here in case number 2020 MM 3033AO. Do you already have a lawyer?
I have the public defender.
Okay, that's a lawyer.
Yes.
I'm going to stay your bond. Your total bond is $1,500 with all previous conditions. Good luck to you, Mr. Caraballo.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
Antonio Maximo Luna.
Mr. Luma, I'm not sure if you qualify for a public defender. Do you support anybody?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Do you have any family members or that you support?
Yes.
How many people?
My wife and I send money to my kids. My 2 girls.
How old are they?
They're 28 and 22 for their grandchildren.
With 3 depend, and do they depend on you for support?
Just to help them. Yeah.
Okay. And you bring home $650 a week?
Yes.
Do your adult children work?
Not now. No.
Does he qualify? Yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you do qualify for the services of the public defender. I'll appoint them to represent you. And does he qualify for pretrial
PTR.
release as well?
Sorry, Your Honor, I thought you was talking to me. He does qualify for PTR.
I figured. Okay, sir, I'm going to put you on pretrial release with a condition that you not possess, use, or consume any alcohol or any illegal drugs and commit no new crimes. Mr. Luna, do you have any questions for me or your lawyer?
No, thank you.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
What's your name, sir?
Justin McDowell.
Mr. McDowell, you're here for a charge of driving with license suspended with knowledge. Let me. Does he have 2 days in corrections? Sir, if you would, what?
1 day.
Sir, if you would like to resolve your case today, I would adjudicate you guilty and give you a time-served sentence and give you until December 31st of 2020, the end of this year, to pay your court costs. Mr. McDowell, do you want to speak with a lawyer about this case?
No, ma'am.
All right, how do you plead to the charge of driving with license suspended with knowledge? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty.
Do you understand what guilty means?
Not exactly. I just know that.
Guilty means that you're admitting that you committed this crime. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand?
No, Your Honor.
If at any point during our conversation you change your mind and you want an attorney, let me know, okay? You need to answer out loud.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
All right. Do you understand that if you were on probation when you committed this offense, by pleading today, your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated, under the laws of the state, do you understand that you would be civilly committed?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, driving with license suspended is an enhanceable offense. I will be convicting you in just a few moments. If you commit a future act of driving with license suspended, do you understand that you will face felony charges and even a 10-day jail sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else you want to tell me, or do you need to speak with an attorney?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand?
No, ma'am.
What's the highest grade that you finished in school?
9th.
All right. I'll accept your plea of guilty. You're adjudicated guilty. I'll impose a time-served sentence. You'll be released today.
Okay.
Now, I said December 31st, New Year's Eve. Your
Okay.
court cost is going to be about probably around $307. Is that enough time for you to pay, or do you want more time?
It would be nice if I could have some more time with this Corona stuff going on. Because
Okay,
right
I'll-
now I'm unemployed.
Sure. I'll give you until June 1st of 2021 to pay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. McDowell. Yes, sir?
With child support and stuff like that too, I got an issue with that and I haven't been able to work.
Okay.
So am I?
Okay, I'll give you until the end of next year, December 31st of 2021. Sir, don't drive without a valid license, because next time it'll put you in jail for 10
Yes,
days
ma'am.
at least.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck to you. What's your name, sir?
Darren 30.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to give you this. That's from Luna. Darren Thirds. I PTR'd him. A what? Mr. Thurch, you're here for a charge of driving with license suspended with knowledge. If you would like to resolve your case today, I'm seeing that the suspension is because you didn't pay court costs and you never resolved all your fines from your driving under the influence in 2015. The offer on your case is an adjudication, time served, and I'll give you time to pay court cost of $307. Mr. Threats, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
No, ma.
Sir, have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma.
And what's the highest grade that you finished in school?
10.
How do you plead to the charge of driving with license suspended with knowledge?
Guilty.
Guilty means that you did it. Did anybody force you to say that?
No, ma.
Sir, do you understand that if you were on probation when you committed this offense, by pleading today, your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes, ma.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you'll be subject to deportation?
Yes, ma.
If you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated, under the laws of the state, you would be civilly committed. Do you understand that too?
Yes, ma.
Sir, driving with license suspended is an enhanceable offense. I am convicting you in just a few moments. If you commit a future act of driving with license suspended, the law states that you can face a minimum 10-day jail sentence and even be charged with a felony. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma.
All right. Do you need any more time to talk to a lawyer before I end your case and do a
No.
time-served sentence?
No, ma.
Okay, I'll accept your plea of guilty, find you waived your right to an attorney, you're adjudicated, time served, and I'll give you, how about I give you until June of next year to pay your cost?
Thank you.
June 1st of 2021. You'll be fingerprinted. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
What's your name, sir?
Rodney Brazil?
Sir, you're here for a charge of trespass in a structure. Give me just a moment.
Okay.
Sir, you're here for a charge of trespass in a structure. State any objection to me making an offer.
No, Your Honor.
If you would like to resolve your case today, the offer is an adjudication, 3 days, no return, and abide by all trespass orders. Looks like you already have 2 days in, so you'd be released over the weekend. Do you need to speak with an attorney, Mr. Bazil, on your trespass charge?
No, I mean, not really.
Is that a yes or a no, sir?
No.
Do you want to plead to this charge and resolve it today?
I'm guilty.
Okay. How do you plead to the charge of trespass? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty.
And do you understand what guilty means?
No.
Guilty means that you're admitting that you committed this act of trespass. Is that what you want to do today to close your case?
Yes.
Do you need any time to talk to a lawyer?
No.
I can't hear you.
No.
If you were on probation at the time you committed this offense, do you understand your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you would be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge?
Yes.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, medication, or do you have any mental or health issues that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
All right, and are you giving up your right to a trial?
Yes.
At this time, I'll find that you waived your right to an attorney. You entered a plea of guilty. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days with credit for 2 days. No return to the scene of the crime. Abide by all trespass orders, and I'll give you until June 1st of 2021 to pay your court costs. Mr. Bazil, do you have any questions for me?
That means I get to leave tomorrow?
Tomorrow or even maybe tonight. Just pay your court costs by June of next year.
Okay, no problem.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
All right.
Sir, what's your name?
Nicholas Brown.
Mr. Brown, you're here for a charge of trespass in a structure. State any objection to an adjudication 3-day offer?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
1 moment, Your Honor.
Same factual basis, same co-defendant as just before.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, the offer on your case is an adjudication 3 days. You have credit for 2 days. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
No, ma'am.
I'll find that you waived your right to an attorney. If you do change your mind, let me know. Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medicine that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on, Mr. Brown?
No, ma'am.
How do you plead to the charge of trespass on a structure, guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty.
And has anybody forced you to say guilty?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what guilty means?
Yes, ma'am.
If you were on probation when you committed this offense on the 25th, do you understand your probation would be violated?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you'll be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the highest grade that you finished in school?
11.
And do you understand everything that's going on right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need any more time to talk to a lawyer?
No.
All right, I'll accept your plea of guilty. You're adjudicated guilty with credit for 2 days' time served, and I'm sentencing you to 3. I'll give you until June 15th of 2021 to pay your court costs. No return to that apartment complex, abide by all trespass orders, and your case is over.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Waive the attorney. Or rather, no attorney. Sir, what's your name?
Louis Ibanez.
I'm sorry, what?
The next case was Felipe De Fuentes, he bonded.
Okay, give that back to you. What about Stephen Haddon?
Mental health.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the, let me do Mr. Ibanez first. State, or corrections, in case number 19 CF 3799, that's Mr. Ibanez's other cases from 2019. Is there prosecution going on? Meaning, has an information been filed, State?
One moment, Your Honor. Which case was it for?
2019 CF 3799AO.
Yes, Your Honor. An information was filed on May 31st, 2019.
What's its next court date?
He has a status hearing on, it said May 7, 2020, and that was all the information. It says he's in the pretrial intervention program, and
Okay,
there's,
so it's in PTI?
yeah.
Yeah, I completed that.
All right, I'm going to revoke your release in case number 19 CF 3799AO. In case number 2020 MM 7006, I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bond at $250, and I'll appoint a public defender to help you with that case. Thank you, Mr. Ibanez. What happened to Stephen Haddon?
Mental health.
Okay, in case number, hold on just one moment. In case number 2020 MO 939, defendant has a urinated and indecent conduct and a misdemeanor, and then he also has a trespass. I'll appoint a public defender, set bond at, stay the bond, find probable cause. If there's a mental health, do I reset him? Is that what they do? Okay, I'll take no action on the out on bond, and I'll reset him in 2 days, but he does have a bond. If he's clear, I can plea him out on Monday. What's your name, please?
Jocelyn Morency.
No, not you, sir. You.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
Andy Mateo.
Andy Mateo is your name?
Yes, ma'am.
State, what's going on with case number 2020 CF 7155 in defense? Do you have a lawyer in your domestic violence case?
Yes, I do.
Who'd you hire?
Fighter is Thomas Fighter from Fighter Law.
Yes, Your Honor. He has he had arraignment on 9/8. He is set for pretrial conference in front of Judge Calderon on November 10th and set for trial on November 23rd.
Okay, in case number 2020 CF 7155AO, based on the new offense, I find probable cause, and I'm going to revoke your release and hold you at no bond. In the possession of drug paraphernalia, I'll stay the bond at $500. Do you want a public defender for your new case? You filled out the paperwork, so that's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
You want a public?
For the first that I was out on bond.
Yes.
Does this affect that one in any type of way?
Well, I revoked your bond because when you're out on bond, you're not supposed to commit any new offenses. So I revoked your bond on that case.
Ma'am.
Your public defender or Mr. Fighter can explain that to you.
Okay, but in this particular case, I didn't commit a crime.
Do you want to say something to him before he puts anything on record, or are you okay with it?
I can speak with you.
What? Do you want him to say anything on record?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll give you a moment to confer with your client. Mr. Morency, while they're talking, I'm going to give you a 3-day offer with credit for 2. That means you'll be released this weekend. That's what I did with the co-defendant, so think about that, and I'll talk to you in just a minute.
Perfect.
Okay, so, is there anything else you want to say? Again, your statements are being recorded and can be used against you. All right, for the record, he's nodding his head no. I'll stay the bond of $500 in the paraphernalia, revoke his release in the felony case, and PD's office is appointed on the new case. Thank you, Mr. Mateo. Jocelyn Morency. Mr. Morency, hi. You're here in case number 2020 MM 7000 for a charge of trespass in a structure over the apartment complexes. If you want to resolve your case, the offer is an adjudication, 3 days with credit for 2 days' time served. Mr. Morency, do you want to talk to a lawyer from the public defender's office? You'll need to answer out loud.
No.
All right, if you change your mind, let me know. I'll find in the meantime that you waived your right to an attorney. How do you plead to the charge of trespass in a structure? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
No contest?
No contest means that you're not admitting or denying it. You just feel it's in your best interest to finish your case. Is that what you want to do?
But would I still be released, right?
Yes, at the 3-day mark.
Okay, yes.
Has anybody forced you to say no contest?
No, ma'am.
And you understand now what no contest means?
Not really, but
No contest means you're not admitting or denying the charges. You just want to resolve your case because you feel it's in your best interest.
yes, ma'am.
If you were on probation when you committed this offense yesterday, by pleading today, your terms of probation would be violated. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you're not a United States citizen, you'll be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge. Do you understand that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you have you taken any drugs, alcohol, medicine, or do you have any health issues that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on?
No, ma'am.
And Mr. Morency, what's the highest grade that you finished in school?
12.
And are you giving up your right to a lawyer?
Yes.
At this time, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days' time served. I'll give you until June 15th of 2021 to pay your court costs, and that concludes your case.
So what day will I be released?
Tonight?
Today.
Today.
Today? Sometime today? Okay,
Sir,
thank you.
but I do need to tell you that part of the sentence includes you're not to go back to that apartment complex.
Yes, ma'am,
And
yes.
you have to abide by any trespass orders.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mario Townsend.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are you Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend, you're here in case number 2020 MM 700980. If you would like to resolve your case today, the offer is an adjudication, 3 days in the county jail with credit for 2, meaning you'd be released today. Sir, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Do you need a moment to confer about the
Your Honor, may I add something?
What?
He said that.
Sorry, may I add? He has open mental health hearings.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to appoint a public defender. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to appoint a public defender, and I'll put him on pretrial release.
What's the pre-trial release?
This gentleman is your attorney. That and pretrial release is an arm of probation. They'll explain to you what it is, but you can be released without having to post any bond, okay?
No, I'd rather take it to trial, miss.
Okay, thank you. Your trial will be in another day, sir.
They're going to release me today?
Yes, sir.
Any conditions, Your Honor?
What?
You have any conditions?
No.
No.
Stuart Villabos. Okay, State, I'm going to need to go over some cases with you. State and PDs, if you know, case number 2020 CF 8857AO. He was previously released ROR. Has the state made a filing decision?
Was it the last four 8857?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Information was filed on August 11th, 2020, and he has pre-trial conference on January 16, 2021, and trial set for January 19th. And he's in front of Judge Wilson.
And what's going on in his CT case, 2020 CT 4569?
He is set for pre-trial conference on October 1st, 2020, in front of Judge Cameron.
All right, he has a PD on it. State, if he pleads to the no valid driver's license, any objection to no crossing the drug paraphernalia? And he can just have the case in front of Judge Wilson standing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you want to speak with your client, plea to the no valid, drop the new paraphernalia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll give you a moment to speak with your lawyer, and I'll take no action on the out on bond then. And he does have an out-of-county warrant, and I'll stay all those bonds. State, in the meantime, I have an upcoming case for Crystal Evans. Can you look it up? 2020 CF. Let me know when you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't take any action on it. It's a warrant. Disregard.
Okay.
All right. What do you want to do?
He'd like to plea, Your Honor.
All right. In case number 2020 CT 4569, you have a charge of no valid driver's license. Do you plead guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
Guilty, ma'am.
All right. Has anybody forced you to say guilty?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what it means?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to talk to your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Villabos, if you were on probation at the time, do you understand by entering a plea today, your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated, you would be civilly committed. Do you understand that? You need to answer out loud.
Yes, ma'am.
And you would be subject to deportation if you're not a United States citizen by entering a plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, in that case, I'll withhold adjudication, do a time-served sentence. You'll be released on that case today. I'll give you until June 15th of 2021 to pay your court costs and your public defender's fees. In 2020 CF 8857, I'll take no action. State, any objection to dismissing 2020 MM 7012 in exchange for the plea?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, that case is dismissed with no objection from the state. And you still have a warrant. I'll take, in case number 2020 MM 7010, you have a false identification to law enforcement officer. in that case, and I'll modify that bond to $100. In Seminole County case, you have a warrant for $95 that needs to be paid. All right? Thank you. That concludes your case, and you have cases, and you have 30 days to appeal. In case number 2020 CF 10921, you're already out on bond for Orange County cases. I'll take no action. You do have a warrant out of the Marion County Sheriff's Office that was confirmed because you missed your court date for a theft charge. You have a bond of $1,000. I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you. Since if you don't post it, you're gonna be sitting in jail here, okay? They won't transport. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question? I was in jail last week for failure to appear, okay? They put out a new bond. My bondsman got me out on Monday. I failed to appear in Ocala because you guys had me in jail last week. And then I get out of jail, and then they get another warrant out for my arrest. I was told by Moncrief, my bondsman, that when I'm in jail, Ocala should have seen I was in jail, therefore they wouldn't have put another warrant out for me. Is that correct?
I don't know. And keep your mask on.
Okay.
That's your you do have a monetary bond.
A what?
You do have a bond of $1,000.
I understand that, ma'am, but can I do on my own recognizance? I don't want a public
Ma'am,
defender. I want to defend myself, please, too.
I can't change that. If you don't want a public defender, okay, I can't force you to have one.
Okay.
Michael Flowers?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Flowers, you're here for a warrant for petty theft. And this is from St. Johns County.
Yes, ma'am.
One of them, and for the petty theft charge, you're being released on your own recognizance. And then you have a second warrant for felony petty theft, and that bond is $2,500. Are you going to be able to afford that bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want me to appoint a public defender just in case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll appoint a public defender in case he can't post bond. Thank you.
So $250 I can get off these warrants?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Molly Fundario? Are you Miss Fundario?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a violation of probation for the underlying offense of prostitution or related offense. You have a bond, it's $5,000. I've confirmed the warrant out of Polk County. Do you want a public defender in case you can't afford the bond?
Yes, I can afford the bond.
Okay, I'm gonna appoint the PD's office to help you with that case. Thank you, ma'am. Tell me your name, sir.
Andrew Kamanzi?
Give me just a moment, sir.
Sure.
Mr. Kamanzi, you're here for a violation of probation in case number 2020 CF 32257. This is a warrant out of Brevard County, Florida, and you're being held at no bond. Since you're being held at no bond, would you like me to appoint a public defender so they can assist you in communicating with Brevard County?
I'll do the 30 if I have no bond.
What?
I said, I'll just do my time if you're giving me no bond.
Okay, I can't give you time, but I can't sentence you on this case, but you are getting game time in this, okay?
So I'm getting a bond?
No, you're not getting a bond. I can't do that today for you, sir. That's why I can appoint a lawyer so they can assist you.
There's no need for a lawyer if I'm gonna do my time.
Sir, have you ever had any mental health issues?
No, I'm okay.
All right, I'm not understanding what's going on, so in an abundance of caution, I'm going to appoint a public defender. And if he doesn't want to talk to you, go ahead and, I do have concerns about his ability to understand what's going on.
I'm just sorry, I just went through, I lost a family to COVID, you know, so it's been a very long day, and that's the new normal, so excuse me.
All right, I'm sorry for your loss, sir. Just
It's
follow the
okay, it
directions.
happens, vice versa.
There's Molly May. Isaac Murray Williams?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. You're here, good afternoon. you're here for warrants out of Osceola County for a resisting officer, false identification, and petty theft. You have a total bond of $300. Will you be able to post that bond?
No.
All right, I'm going to appoint a public defender. And then you also have a second case, 1827, for false name to or identification. That bond is $1,000. And I'll appoint the PD. I'm sorry, did I say 1,000? I meant 100. I'm staying in. Thank you, your attorney. I'll explain what all that means to you. Andrea Priori.
Good morning.
Good morning. Ma'am, you're here for a warrant out of Seminole County, Florida. And, let me see. For a charge of tampering with electronic monitoring device. You're being held at no bond status, so I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with your case, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sebastian Chavez?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chavez, you're here in felony case number 2015 CF 9666AO for a violation of probation. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to appoint them to help you. I did confirm the warrant, and this is alleged that you didn't comply with the instructions of your probation officer, and you're being held at no bond. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what happened to Singal Revant? Singal Revant, did he bond?
You have a booking number, Your Honor?
Booking number is 2002-1064.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded. Anything else from the state and the PD's office?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
You too.
All of you.